And I think too, like the other thought that came to my mind was like, it's funny because we give so much credit to our flesh in the sense of like, man, this is just so strong. I could never possibly see myself not doing this. But yet we don't give credit to God's power to help us overcome those. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I can
Right.
say no to kissing because I believe that God is going to give me the self-control, the strength and the power
Right.
to be able to overcome
Right.
these desires. It's like, let me give more credit to my God. 'Cause,
So, should Christian dating couples kiss? As a Christian dating couple, you want to be able to show affection and stuff, right? You want to be able to show the person that you love them, and one of the best ways to do that is kissing, right? In this episode of the Men to Men podcast, me and my friends Raph and Micah will discuss if Christian dating couples should allow kissing to be part of their dating experience. Is that just too extreme, or is it not that big of a deal? We're going to discuss that in this episode of the Men to Men podcast. All that coming up. Let's get it. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is James Howard Jr., and you're tuned in to another episode of the Men to Men podcast. This podcast is all about helping men honor God in every single part of their lives. So, if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, I want you to consider subscribing. And if you're checking us out on iTunes or Spotify or maybe another audio platform, I want you to go ahead and give this podcast a follow, give it a like, leave a comment, or whatever you can do to show this podcast some love so that we can continue to help men honor God in every single part of their lives. So, let's jump into this conversation with my friend Raph and Micah as we talk about if Christian dating couples should kiss. Let's go. Should Christian dating couples kiss?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Should they
Hey,
kiss?
look, I'm gonna go ahead and say on the record, this was a hard one for your boy. It was one
Mm-hmm.
where
Same.
it was, but this is the reason it was hard because the spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak.
So
And
weak.
because of that, I think that the admonishment, the encouragement to say no is a good one. It's one that takes a lot of self-control and commitment, but it's a good one because every single time it don't a peck on the cheek, it don't matter. Like every single time, I know it. If it didn't lead physically to anything, it led mentally to a lot of temptations in my mind that led to other
Yeah.
things that were apart from the person that I was dating. And so I think we attempted initially to do that, and the Lord was gracious. And then your boy just got reckless out here. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. And part of the problem was me and my wife, we dated for almost 5 years. So that was one thing. It's just like, boy, stop
Yeah.
playing, marry this girl. And so I think
Right.
that
Right.
that
Right.
was something. But I think that it's like, man, what's the aim of my life? Like, is the aim of my life, or what even is the purpose of kissing? Like, why do I just want to show affection? And it's like, where do you draw the line? And I think that there are certain things that you have to like be able to like yourself, and you're like, okay, like the line, as hard as this is, I desperately want to honor God, and that was my hope. And maybe that's not other people's hopes. It's like I want to honor God, I want to glorify God, but I also want to help my spouse, my girlfriend, to do the same. And I can't
Yeah.
just when we think about kissing, it's like I can't just think about me in this. And
Right.
as men, we have a responsibility to also to think about women who are considered, hey, I'm not saying that women are weaker in some ways, but it's like the mind, we have to consider women and put ourselves in positions that are not just going to help us, but also help our girlfriends or the person that we're
Yeah.
dating. And so like I just think about that, man, and say like, man, like if I'm trying to honor God and I'm not trying to get in the fire, then it's a no for me. But if I'm
Yeah.
trying to find some, like, if it's like, even if I'm trying to find a compromise, why am I trying to compromise? Like if I'm trying to like, let me see how close I can get. Why do I even want to get to the line? If I'm trying to glorify God
Right. Right.
and
Right.
help my spouse do the same thing, I ain't trying to get to the line. Forget that. No, I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I
Yes.
know your flesh hate to
Yes.
hear it, but it's a no.
I said, boy, we like playing with
We
sin
like
though.
playing with fire.
We show like playing with
Facts,
sin, boy.
facts,
We
though.
boy, we like to play with it. Oh, oh,
I'm
right.
good. I can do
We
this.
cause
I
we
can,
like
and that's how I used to lie to
right.
myself. I'm like, man, I can kiss to here. I'll be fine. And you know what? There may be certain days where I think that that could be possibly true. but I think that the enemy is crafty. He's deceitful.
Oh
He
yeah.
prowling around and it's just the perfect storm. It's the perfect storm. It's like, okay, cool, you can do that for so long, but after a while, after you get familiarity with this person, after you go through other trials and whatever it is going on in your life, like it get hectic, school is going crazy, you're busy, you ain't going like the flesh is weak, bro, and it's just waiting on an opportunity. And I wanna so 5 years, not 5 years ago, me and Tierra been married 7 years. So 8 years ago, I would want to say that I could say yes to kissing. But I mean, again, it's a personal thing. I know myself and I just know I can't do it.
Yo, this conversation is pretty good to me, but I want to know what you think. I want you to leave a comment down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have some advice yourself that maybe you can give for somebody who's going to come along on this podcast who may be seeking to get a little bit of help outside of what we said in this video? So go ahead and leave a comment down below, and then we'll jump right back into this episode. Let's go.
Yeah, I would say, man, you kind of knocked it out the park with the answer, right, for sure. And I don't disagree with you like at all. I think for me, I might be a little different. Like a peck for me, literally does nothing. Like it does nothing for me. But I know whenever my wife and I were dating, I wanted to like have like
Smash,
heavy like
baby.
make
Listen.
out sessions. Like I want, and I like, in thinking back, man, like the idea of saying, "Oh, I'm not like I'm not gonna kiss my girlfriend until we get married," like that seemed like lame to me, like whack, right? But looking back and knowing like the what the feeling was that I experienced with like other girls of like having sex, clearly before we were married, like knowing what comes after that is like it ain't even worth it,
Yeah.
man. Where it's just kind of like, man, like I think I'm good, you know what I'm saying, with prolonging uh kissing and tempting myself and like getting close to the fire, you know what I'm saying, and like playing those games of like almost like a hokey pokey, you know what I'm saying, with the fire, where it's kind of like, man, like you just tempting and testing yourself and like you playing,
Yeah.
bro, like
Yeah.
you setting yourself up for failure. But I don't think that like I don't believe that my wife and I like I don't remember if we like made out a lot or whether we kissed a lot. I honestly can't tell you. Like I don't
Yeah.
remember. But I would say for sure, again, man, knowing yourself, and not even just saying, because I don't think I said to myself, "Oh, like pics really don't do anything for me, so let's just kiss and pics," because I like,
You want more?
you know what I'm saying. That's kind of
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah, it's kind of dumb too.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say, man, just looking back and knowing how I felt after, like, because at the end of the day, like I'm having sex outside of marriage, like this is not honoring God, and so like, and then like you also said, Ref, like you're like in that way, like you're responsible for another person as well, and their relationship with God. Like I don't ever want to feel like or end up leading somebody else
Yeah.
astray, you know what I'm saying, based on just like this temporary moment of like pleasure, right? You know what I'm saying? So looking back, man, I would say to people who might be in a dating situation, man, know yourself. Like don't just get to the line, and don't just do what will get you to a certain point. Like just like you just be
Cut it
better
off.
off
Yeah.
abstaining.
Yeah.
Man, just if you can, just get married ASAP. Like it sounds whack and lame, it sounds stupid, but looking back, man, like that's literally probably just the best course of action. Like it
You
is
get a
what it
little
is.
sample, you gonna want the whole course. Like if you get a sample and
Right.
it's good to you, you know what I mean? It's like,
Because you people think like people not even thinking like, man, I'm dating, like you're dating somebody you're obviously physically
yeah,
attracted to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna want more. You're gonna want to go as
right.
far as, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause especially, man, like us dudes, like when we stop thinking up here and start thinking down there, like ain't like logic goes out of the window.
And I think too, like the other thought that came to my mind was like, it's funny because we give so much credit to our flesh in the sense of like, man, this is just so strong. I could never possibly see myself not doing this. But yet we don't give credit to God's power to help us overcome those. Like,
Mm,
yeah, I can
Yeah.
say no to kissing because I believe that God is going to give me the self-control, the strength and the power
Right.
to be able to overcome
Right.
these desires. It's like, let me give more credit to my God
that's
because
good.
right now
That's
I'm
good.
giving more credit to my flesh and the devil than I should. And it's like, you know what? God is giving me a way out. God is giving me an alternative that's more glorifying to him. And that's what I want to choose. That's what I want to pick.
Yeah, man. It's that Holy Spirit working inside of
Come
us,
on.
man. That listening to Tony Evans again this morning, and he was saying the Holy Spirit, man, it gives you thoughts that you didn't even know
Mm,
you would have, gives you words that you didn't even know you knew, gives you desires and different things and control that you didn't even know you had.
yeah.
Because it's I mean, it's the helper. Like Jesus talks about it when he came back and talked to his disciples, like, yo, I'm like, it's better for
Yeah.
me, it's better for you if I
Yeah.
leave, because you're gonna get the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit gonna be with you like all the time.
Yeah.
And when you're tempted, when you're faced with frustration, when you're faced with all that kind of stuff, the Holy Spirit's there, man, to help you and to help you get to where you need to be, man. And it just goes back to boundaries, knowing the
Yeah.
limits, because for your girl, like you said, Mikey, you were saying like a kiss on the cheek, ain't nothing to you, but for some of you
I
guys
hate
out there, like that may get your girl going all the way.
Right.
Like,
Right.
kiss on the cheek, like you blow a kiss at her,
That's
it's
it.
over, right?
Fast out.
Like, and so I think for those guys who are watching, man, you really need to know yourself, and you need to know the girl who you're dating, and y'all just need to have open communication about what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna
Yeah.
do.
Mm,
Yeah, it's about sexual
right.
integrity, and we're talking about that with the teenagers now in my group. It's all about honoring yourself, honoring the other person, and honoring
Yeah.
God. And when you're doing that, man, you're setting yourself up for a strong relationship,
I'll
man.
also say this.
Anything else?
Yeah, because I mean, you were hitting on it as you were talking. I think, boundaries are huge and bringing people in because I think I I wouldn't lay it down on Tierra in front of all my guys. Like I definitely I mean a kiss on
Mm,
the cheek, yeah, maybe. And I think that maybe that's when that's permissible. It's like, oh yeah, I'll do that and it won't get any further than that because we're always around people. And around people that know us, not just around people in general, but like around our accountability. I think that type of boundary helps kissing to not go further than what it needs to be or to not go anywhere at all. It's like, okay, like I'm good. Like my guy's with me. Like I'm gonna be all right, type of thing. So
Again, I'd like to thank my homies, my boys, Raph and Micah, for giving their input on if Christian dating couples should kiss. So hopefully we gave you a little bit of help. We didn't necessarily give you an answer on either way or stuff like that. We want to leave it up to you. We want to leave it up to the Holy Spirit, the convictions and personal convictions that you have in your heart and what God has put in your heart on what you know is right for you, what you know is right for your girl. And so my prayer is that we gave you a little bit of advice that can help you to just simply honor God in whatever way you see fit in your dating relationship. All right. Again, we'd like to thank you for checking out this episode of the Men to Men podcast. If you're on YouTube and you would like to hear more of this conversation, I want you to go ahead and check out this video right here. And don't forget, if you're listening on the audio platforms, make sure that you give us a follow, that you leave a review so that more men can honor God in their lives by listening to this podcast. All right. Again, thank you for checking out this episode of the Men to Men podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.